Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 128 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline. It's website design, Google Ads, social media, printing, literally anything. We're a one-stop shop. You can check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com. And right there on the homepage, if you're looking for local business, you can request a free review of your online business or online presence today. My name is Milton Campus. I'm a brown belt training out of South Florida. We got Bo behind the camera on this end. Yep. We've got Ben today. Christian's out. We got Ben today. Say hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, we let Christian talk once in a while.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Right? Don't forget to like, comment, download, share, and click on the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate all your support. Joining us today is a UFC, Bellator, and Invicta veteran. We got black belt Heather Jo Clark.
Yes.
Give me a second. We're going to do a couple of sponsor reads, and then we'll bring you in. Thank you to our friends over at Flow and Roll. Hands down, the best custom gi and no-gi gear in the business. Don't believe us? Visit them on Instagram at flow_and_roll. Check out all their custom designs. They work with academies across the country. Some really cool stuff there on IG. You can use coupon code JJD for 20% off of all of their gear at flowandroll.com. But reach out to them on Instagram and talk to them about their pre-order program. They have a really good way to help gyms get all their gear. Very little money out of pocket. It's a very cool system. I'll let him explain it to you, though. We got Leo Optics. Let me see if we do this today. Woohoo! Leo Optics, right? These are my favorite sunglasses right now. These are bamboo sunglasses. They're a sunglass and apparel company specializing in bamboo sunglasses. Their passion is rooted in jiu-jitsu and the lifestyle surrounding jiu-jitsu, founded in Southern California with just products reflecting the BJJ lifestyle. So you can go to layoutoptics.com and you'll get 10% off with code JJD. So these are my go-tos. Also, thank you to BioPro Technology. All right, this is I'm taking these. There's two boxes here. I don't know if we can see both of them, right? We've got one with the quarter sleep on the bottom. We've got the regular box. I take these daily on an empty stomach. Again, morning when I wake up and then right before I go to bed. Helps with anti-aging, metabolism, libido, immune system, skin, cognition. And then the nighttime definitely helps with sleep and stress. That does have melatonin in it, so I've stopped taking any other melatonin products. All this with no needles or side effects. You can check them out at bioproteintech.com and get $30 off with code JJD on any of their regularly priced kits, okay? So check them out. All right, wasn't too bad?
No,
Good?
not too bad.
Welcome, Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this. The one thing I didn't mention was 10th Planet Boca Raton, which is... I was 10th Planet. We had Charlie Vinch on, I guess, who you met. Did he come train with you, or did you know him before that?
No. He hit me up, saying he was opening up a gym nearby and just wanted to kind of collaborate a little bit.
Sure. He mentioned you, and I'm like, a 10th Planet in Boca? What's going on? Now, are you still involved or own 10th Planet Denver? Is it Denver or?
I started 10th Planet Denver with my partner Connor Hune, and then when I came out here, I basically walked away from that.
Okay.
So I have no hand in the pot, so to speak. Okay. But Connor and I are still very close and speak pretty much daily on just like the collaborating of keeping a lot of our same designs and merchandise, because I designed all the merch in Denver. Okay. So it's kind of like, I love that stuff. I designed it. But so bringing that over as well as like curriculum and just, I'm a 10th Planet black belt under him. And so, I just want to keep that kind of same style and everything going. So very similar. So
we're gonna go through the history of how you found jiu-jitsu and your MMA career and stuff like that. But I am still curious about, did you start your jiu-jitsu training at a 10th Planet, or you found 10th Planet later, right? I found it later, but not that. I mean, I started training solely 10th Planet in 2018. I guess it was. Like solely just 10th Planet. But I knew Eddie from the beginning. Really? I trained at a gym called Pisanini Training Center in downtown LA. That's where I started training MMA. Sure. So I started training jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu for MMA. Okay. And then shortly after that, someone told me about 10th Planet, told me about Eddie, and I went and trained with him. And I remember the first time I rolled with him, he literally, I think, tapped me 15 times. And every time he would just be like, oh, like, are you okay? I'm like, super nice. I'm good. Yeah. And he would just do it again, you know? But so I had always trained there. I'm from Los Angeles. So anytime I moved away, I moved to Albuquerque next to train at Jackson Links. But I would come home to visit and I would just train with Eddie. So
you know, I wasn't solely training with him, but I've been around the system. I've been around the people. I've been around him, and then who are now black belts today as well. Like growing up with some of the girls who are now female black belts. So that's kind of cool that at least I have that history with them and a little bit, and can go back to those days. Yeah.
So that you mentioned curriculum before. Does it come from the top down, or do you get to kind of develop your version of the curriculum?
It's everyone has their own, you know, say in how they want to run their gym, right? But there is the 10 Planet warm-ups is a curriculum that Eddie basically put together, right? So it's 32 flows, A through H, 1 through 4. And yes,
sounds like way more than the 15 minutes at my school, the warm-up that we do.
So basically the warm-up, so say A1 or whatever. Okay. Well, A1's a bad example because they're Granbys. Say A2 would be like a series of flows. A series of one flow with a partner. And the way that I teach it is I do the whole class like that flow. So I'll write it down on the board because I don't actually have them written on any board.
But he's got it like up on.
Yeah, he's got it in
wall, right?
Yep. And then in Denver, I wrote out all the boards so they're hanging up. So I don't have to write them up every day. But I do like to have them there for the students to see when we're doing them, because the language that Eddie came up with is so different than your typical, you know, BJJ language. I mean, yes, we have Kimura, we have armbar, we have, you know, the same ones that you guys have. I say you guys, the Gracie style, but we have a lot more. And so by learning the warm-ups, you're learning his language, you're learning how he kind of flows things together. And it's just like the core curriculum of 10th Planet, and he's constantly changing it. That's what's super cool. Yeah. So the warm-up wall in headquarters is like old. He calls it just like a piece of art at this point.
Okay.
But now there's updated ones, and I have a PDF of that. And I actually just made a rash guard with all the flows on it, and it's the updated flows. And I made it look like Eddie's wall. So it's like got the same colors that his headquarters wall has, but with the updated flows. So it's kind of cool.
So when you say the language, the way I understand it is it's not just like the name of the move, but aren't like kind of the positions that you might be in are named as well?
Yeah, so you could get a position, could be a name. It could be like a sweep could have a name. It could be, you know, the full transition for instance, dope mount is one of the positions that in MMA, it was a specific position, whereas in 10th Planet, it's actually a transition to the mount.
Okay.
You know? So there's a lot of names, and it's so funny. My last UFC fight in Mexico City was against Alexa Grasso, and it was quite the fight. I broke my orbital, couldn't see, broke my nose, could have bleeding all over. And here I am after the fight, sitting in the lobby of the hotel, sitting with Eddie. And
did he corner you, or he was just there?
He didn't corner me. Okay, he was there for Tony Ferguson.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting there talking to him, eating chocolate cake, bleeding down my face because whatever.
Because that's what you do after a fight.
But I'm like I'm picking his brain because I just always found him super intriguing. Even though he's been a friend of mine for years, every time I was with him, I was just like always asking him things about 10th Planet, not even knowing that this is where I'd be now, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, I finally want to ask you this question. This is a great time. So how do you pick these names? Like, where do these names come from? You know, they're like the most random names, or
I imagine this. Yeah, we're gonna call that this thing, right? I think that's what the rest of us out here imagine.
Similarly, but it usually happens on the mat. I think is what he was saying. It's like you just got to come up with a name, and sometimes it's very clear. So like we have one called the douchebag, and it's like you know it's kind of douchey way to break spider web. You know, and that makes sense, but. You know, and then we have like rubber guard positions, New York, and then we have New Jersey. New Jersey is like the cousin of New York. So like it's a very similar position. And then he's like, and then there's other times where it's just like someone's got to name it. And you just got to name it. To name it doesn't have any rhyme or reason, but we got to come up with a name.
Is it, I know like, I watched, there's a video out on YouTube, or there's like a series. I think it might've been Flow Grappling did it on Eddie recently, or maybe even a couple years ago.
BMAC.
And then, I hear this Orchard, like right there's the Orchard, right? There's somebody named Orchard, right?
Nate Orchard.
Nate Orchard. That's his real name, and then he got Dead Orchard, right? So like things like that happen. I get like he did it, or did he name it? Was it like his move, his signature move?
That's a good question. Yeah. I don't know if Eddie named that one or if Nate did, but it's a killer move, that's for sure. Yeah, so I make my own names now too. So like,
that's where I was gonna go. Yeah, like my coach does that.
Yeah, we you know, and I don't know. Sometimes like I don't know if it's actually in the system or not, or maybe like I just never heard of it or whatever. But I'm not like, and a lot of times I'll ask Connor or I'll ask other people in the system. Hey, what's the name of this? And if they don't know, then I'm like, all right, I'm going to name it.
Okay.
So I have a recent one that I named. A friend of mine in San Diego is a purple belt named Darren. He showed me this armbar that he got from Danaher. I was like, D names, right? And it's from Side Control. So we call it the Side D.
Okay.
So I'm yelling at my students, get that Side D. Get that Side D. And like, to me, it's like my
kids,
students
turn the podcast off right now. Just go tell your parents to.
The side door, right? The side door is what I'm trying to say, kids. Side door. Get that side door. No. So, it's just, it's funny. It's a way to remember it. It's a way to like make it fun.
Yeah.
And, and it's also like, if I'm saying that and you're on my side control, right? And someone's yelling, hit that side D, you're going to be like, for a second, you're going to be like, what did they just say what I think they say? And then I got you an arm bar and you're tapping.
But it's such an easier way to remember things. And my coach, especially doing the podcast, somebody will say a move and I have no clue what they're talking about, whether it's 10th Planet or anybody. They say something and I definitely don't know the technical names. But what happened is we have a big kids program in Coral Springs. So he uses like these funny names to get the kids to remember stuff. But then we have so many of the parents that train with us that he just uses the same names.
Sure.
So we've got like Happy Baby.
Yeah.
Nene, the reverse Nene, so like, that dance Nene. So like you're putting your hands kind of in that position. So we named it the Nene. So like we got the Whopper, we got the double Whopper. Mm-hmm. And there's no rhyme or reason to these sometimes. Like why the Whopper? Why this? Why that? And I know those names, but when I'm having a conversation with somebody who might know like the Danaher names or like Ashi this and and I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about. It sounds like I've never done a day of jiu-jitsu, but if I tell them my names, obviously it's the same. Like so there's no rhyme or reason to it in ours.
But it's good. It's code.
Yeah.
Because when you're coaching from the side, it's more important that you know what.
I've given up on trying to like find the correct name when he teaches us something. So like actually like the Whopper for us is that move that I think Gordon kind of just made it famous where he's mounting and then he's got your arms basically across it and he's going to do a head and arm choke. Yeah, smother with the chest. We call that the Whopper. One arm is the Whopper and then this is our double Whopper.
And then he's got the other. Oh, double.
Both of them is the double
We call that the Great Popper. The first one, just when you like slide their arm across and then they call that the Grape Popper.
The Grape Popper.
Yeah.
What about when both arms are in?
I don't know. I don't think we have one. Right. We don't. We don't need both. We just get in with the one.
Yeah. So let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning. Tell us how you found martial arts and how you got involved with this craziness.
Man. Well, my dad is a Vietnam vet, so he kind of just raised me being super tough. Wanting to stick up for myself and teach me how to fight very early. So had me in karate when I was 8. And then as I kind of got in high school, I don't know, I tend to get into fights, not me like picking on people or bullying people, but kind of getting bullied and not being okay with that. And my dad always saying like, hey, okay, this is what you're going to do. When the girl, next time she says something to you or pushes you, right, you're going to drop your bag off your shoulder and backhand her in the face, front kick, 1, 2, and like he'd make me practice it.
Did he know how to fight? Did he have a fighting background as well?
So he, obviously as a Marine in Vietnam, you kind of had to learn to do everything. It's a much different war back then, right? It wasn't just shooting from far, but so a lot of hand-to-hand combat there. And then he went and did karate Shotokan in college after that. And then he actually was a honorary black belt under Benny the Jet Urquidez, who is a multiple champion in kickboxing, boxing, and he used to train MMA and fight MMA on the Elvis Presley team. So this is like a long time ago.
That's 60s, right?
Yes.
Mid-60s.
So, like no holds barred type shit. So my dad had a black belt under him, and just like he knows how to fight. So he would teach me, I don't know, I guess it was very karate style, but also just like whatever's going to work, you know?
Yeah. As a kid in that moment, like I have two girls, I have a stepdaughter and I have my biological daughter. I could imagine me having these conversations and then being like, but Dad, what? I can't hit her. I can't hit her. Like,
no.
or scared to do it. Yeah. Like I would imagine, like, I mean, my oldest daughter's 30, but at that time, like telling her to like, okay, you're gonna hit her with the back. Like they'd be like, "Are you crazy, Dad? I don't want to fight."
I was like, "Let's
go."
You
were in.
Yeah,
you were in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was totally. I mean, maybe because one, I think because it's funny you said that. I've never really thought about it. Like I wouldn't.
Like I think a lot of kids, period, a boy and girl, I think would be like, "You want me to do what?" You know,
but is there? You know? That's the thing. There's either. You're either that way
it's
or
the
you're
fight
the
or
other
flight.
way.
Yeah, like he taught you fight, not the flight.
And
right?
I was just born that way. I have an older sister too, 5 years older, and she always used to fight with me. She was a little crazy, and she would just we would fight a lot as a kid, as kids. So I think I learned that too, like standing up for myself at a very young age. And my dad just teaching me like be tough. I don't know, I just had it in me.
I think I just for my girls, I would always just be like, if it's I never really had to I never had a situation where they were like fighting other girls. So it was like, if a boy touches you, just kick him in the but that's a classic, right? Kick him there and run, or tell a teacher. So I think that was like the extent of any advice that I maybe even might have given. I don't even know. I don't remember.
I mean, I remember, like in elementary school, I got in a fight with a boy. And he like went to punch me, and I did the full on like karate block like this. Like this. But then I accidentally hit him in the face with the block, and like hard enough to where it made him cry. He went and told like the principal, and then my dad had to come in, and then the mom had to come in, and there was this whole thing. And she like, they hit him, and I said, no, like I just blocked. Actually, I might have blocked and returned fire. I don't remember, but either way, I think I hit him, and then I hit him. Yeah, either way, he hit me first. And it, like my dad will never tells that story forever because it's just like I think it was just in me. I don't know. I liked that stuff. I liked and then I started playing hockey in high school, and I played with women the first year, so there was no full contact. It was like pushing and stuff, right? Yeah. But no like full on like that. Till 10th grade, I started playing with boys in LA. Okay. Only girl on the team, full contact.
Wow.
So I'm playing guys your size, like 18. Because
this small?
Yeah. But I was like tiny, I was like 115 pounds, sopping wet, like little, 15 years old, playing with 15 to 18-year-old guys. And some of the 18-year-old guys were big boys, football player, stocky guys, and they didn't care. They wanted to mess me up. So I think like learning to be tough on the ice also helped. Sure. Once I got in jiu-jitsu and fighting and stuff like that after. Okay. So
did you do any training, like besides your father teaching you stuff, did you wind up doing like any karate or any martial arts?
In high school, my dad, Benny the Jet, go back to Benny the Jet, he had a gym in Van Nuys that I would go to sometimes in high school. Sure. And then right out of college, or when I was playing Division I hockey in Minnesota, I don't know, like I just felt like, I want to go find a boxing gym. So I went and found a boxing gym, and I started training boxing. Had an amateur fight, and I really liked it. But man, it was like 3 1-minute rounds. And I remember the next day waking up and like, oh my God, like my neck I never felt that before, Yeah. And like kind of second guessing, like, is this something I want to do, And I kept doing, ended up moving back to LA, transferring schools, and just not being able to afford to train and like kind of gave it up for a while. Finished school, continued to play hockey, I played professional in Canada for a year, and then Switzerland for a year professionally. Then I came back, finished my degree, and then I moved to Maui, and I was doing a surf school out there and doing photography, and like I kind of just put sports on the back burner until I came back from Maui and got overweight. So I'd been back from Maui for like a year, and I was just eating everything I couldn't get on the island. Everything I couldn't get.
Imagine. Let me try this.
I was just like, all this stuff. Okay. So, and I found this cupcake store in Beverly Hills that was right by my house. That was a bad sign. So I got like heavier than I'd ever been. So I was swimming actually one day at Gold's Gym in downtown LA. And I got in the hot tub, and I see this guy in Muay Thai shorts, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm looking for a kickboxing gym. Like, do you train? He's like, oh, I'm a coach, actually, right down the street. This is the owner. It's an MMA gym. And I go, a what?
What the hell's that, right?
Yeah, straight up. Like, this is in 2008. Like, what? MMA? What's that stand for? He's like, mixed martial arts. Have you ever seen the UFC? And I was like, yeah, I think so. Like, a few times. And have you ever done jiu-jitsu? Oh, yeah, a couple times in Maui. I had a friend that did it and showed me a triangle and stuff. I was like, oh, this is cool, but never tried it, never a class.
Sure.
And he was like, well, you should come try it. He was kind of hot, so I was like, okay.
Get him every time.
It was like a double whammy, got me in there. And then I started training kickboxing in there for it was probably a week or two. The MMA coach, Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach. Well, he was actually a brown belt at the time, jiu-jitsu, but shoot box, black belt.
Okay.
And we had who was the black belt there that we had jiu-jitsu? Rodrigo. Rodrigo. Oh my gosh. I'm blanking on it. He was from Checkmat. Anyways, I'll come back. Robinho is his name. So Robinho's there. And Roberto Piscinini's the head coach, MMA coach, and he says, he comes over to me and goes, hey, have you ever done jiu-jitsu or done MMA or thought about fighting? And I'm like, no, I mean, I wanted to, but I didn't, whatever. So ends up talking me into it one night, and I start training jiu-jitsu the next week. And of course, I'm kind of timid. I'm kind of grossed out by the thought of being with someone sweaty and just it's weird to me. Definitely. Yeah. And I'm a full adult, so I can understand when people come into my gym now, because I wasn't a kid doing this. It's I get what you're going through right now, the weirdness. And then I have no women. So I grabbed the cutest guy there, the youngest, cutest guy there. I was like, hey, you're my partner. The whole time. I just didn't I don't know.
It's okay.
It was just weird to me.
Guys don't do that. Just for the, for the men out there, don't do that now.
You don't have to grab the cutest guy.
Don't grab the cutest guy.
But it helped me. It helped me kind of get into feeling comfortable. And then the next day I was fine. Literally the next day I was like, okay, I'll just go with whoever. But I think that first day it was really necessary that I had someone who was young and fun and comfortable and made it easy for me. I don't know what it would have been like if I had some creep.
Yeah. One of my coaches got married last weekend, and we did the reception. Everyone there was jiu-jitsu, was from the gym,
nice.
The girl, we have a big female presence in our school. That's a husband and wife team. Mm-hmm. And so we have a big presence a female presence in the school. And we were talking that some of the girls started. Actually, the girls, they were like, "How come you?" We just had we just did a whole episode with guys from the gym, and the girls were like, "How come you never do one with the girls?" And I'm like, "I will absolutely have you guys on." Like, no, you never have any women on the. I'm like, I have women on the show all the time. I've got a guest next week. We just Tubby Aliquin was on with her husband. And we got to talking about the sweating thing, because we have a couple of guys that we call. There's one teammate we have to call him Aquaman because he sweats. He'll change his rash guard and his gi top in the middle of class because he sweats so much. Yeah, but we were talking about the dripping of the sweat
in the mouth.
Yeah, what's worse in the mouth or when you get one in the eyeball?
The mouth, for sure.
I was like, I feel like in the mouth I can spit that out. I can in the eye you can't expel that. So in my mind, the eyeball is almost worse because now your liquids are mixing with my liquids. I could spit it out and feel, but I can feel like I've expelled it.
You tasted it now.
Yeah, I get that.
I guess it still can come in through.
Yeah, I was just in my mind, I'm thinking about now. I'm never getting that out. I'm not getting up and washing my eyeball out. But we had this whole conversation. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent there, but we were just having a conversation about how disgusting it because. Most of the girls, when I first started there, it was guys and girls, and we'd mix, and a guy could easily ask a girl to train, and then for a while the girls, we have two rooms, we have one large room and then a smaller room, and the girls would train in that room with a female coach, and it was just girls with girls, and the program blew up, and she also did some exercising programs for the girls, so the program blew up. We are now all back in the same room, so it's just excuse me, so many of the students are used to it being separated, and I was there when it was okay. So the guys are slowly being doing to the girls, do you want to roll? The other day it was we had an open mat, but it was we have a huge kids program, and then it was all kids and women and like 4 guys, but then there was like 15 kids and women. So we had to switch it up. So it's like, it's slowly coming back to our culture where we can like roll with each other. Okay. But I definitely, like, I've been there 7 years. So I'm telling like the guys, like, grab somebody that makes sense. My coach always says that. Grab somebody that makes sense and like let them work. Like, you can't go in there like Hulk smash, so you have to use your brain and not try to, they're going to leave. They're going to leave if the men are going to start smashing the girls. You're usually running out the door.
I mean, anybody in general, you got to be mindful who you're rolling with, right? Yeah. Big, small. Like,
we've got some big guys in my gym now too. I used to be like the only big guy, and then all of a sudden, like everybody's bigger than me. 250, 265.
So now you know what it feels like.
Yes. So let's go back. So you're talking about where were we?
Started training in LA.
In LA, go ahead.
Yeah.
So
it started. Yeah, so started training there. I was there maybe about a month, maybe a month and a half, October, November, yeah. And then my coach, Roberto Piscinini, went to Jackson Winklejohn's to train Rashad for the Machida fight.
We had him on the show.
Yeah,
Rashad.
Yeah, Rashad. Love Rashad. We've been friends ever since that. So, like, he was the reason I ended up in Jackson Winks because of that thing, because of my coach being there. And then, like, full circle, now we become friends through other things, through psychedelic stuff and all kinds of stuff. So, he's awesome. So, Rashad brought him out, or he brought Rashad. He went out there to train with Rashad, and then I went out there to train, just to kind of check it out, and started. I remember sparring with Holly Holm and Michelle Watterson. Yeah. And just like the first, I'd only had this one boxing amateur fight like 10 years previous. Yeah. So I didn't really have much to go on. And it
now,
was.
Do you really
scary.
Understand who they are at that point when you're going in there?
No.
Like, because you're still relatively new to the MMA side of things.
Yes, and they were both professionals. Holly was just a boxer at that time.
Yeah.
But she was also a kickboxer. So
was she training at Jackson Wink when she just did kickboxing too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she made her transition to MMA there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So she, Wink was her boxing coach. And then she she actually started kickboxing first. Mm-hmm. And then she went into boxing, and then she went to MMA.
Okay.
So I remember kickboxing with her and like getting kicked and like blocking it, but still like getting like thrown over. Mm-hmm. And then Julie Kedzie and all these, these girls were like taking it out on me. You know, they were trying to see if like I had what it takes, but also like welcoming to me because I was tough enough to take it and get back up and keep coming, So when my coach moved to Brazil, back to Brazil, it was like maybe a month later, I moved back to Albuquerque because I didn't have a coach anymore. And I kind of had met these girls, and I figured if I'm going to do this, I want to be around women. And they had a pretty good sized women's team. So cost of living was cheaper, all that stuff. Sure. So I moved out there and actually met a sponsor, and he paid for me to live in this extended stay for like 9 months.
Oh, wow.
And all I did was, and paid for my food, paid for that and everything. So all I did was train every day, all day, nonstop. And I just, my level just rose super quick because I had that background in athletics, right? And I knew how to train at that level. I knew what it took to eat and fuel my body and recover. Yeah. And so I was able to push myself and train at that level. And it's
grew. Hard if you don't. I actually had this question. Like, I guess I know the answer, but you do have to be obsessed. I guess if you want to use that right, but you have to be obsessed if you want to make it to the higher level. Like, you don't, like, if you do hear like a UFC fighter that's like also has a regular job during the day, like there's usually like he starts making it and he leaves at like now you've got to train full time. You've got to make it, the way you eat is part of the job, right? The way that you train outside, the way that you conduct yourself, the way that everything you do usually has to be about that training. Yes. Like, I'm not going to have that drink. I can't have that beer,
yes. Yeah, everything is everything you do.
Yeah, right?
And sleeping and eating and everything.
Were you somebody that was very regimented? Was it like, I know that I need 8 hours of sleep. I know that I'm going to eat this at this time. It gets
pretty much. Yeah, especially in camp, but like, I always kept my weight pretty low, and I never like blew up between camps and things like that.
You also got to, like, I might get this call, right?
Yeah,
they might call. I might be a film. And aren't they now, like, I don't know if they always did this. I mean, you can answer this. now it's like, especially on the big fights, like they'll have a backup, like make weight, because just in case one of these guys falls out. Were they doing it way back then?
I mean, my fights were never big enough to do that, but you know, there were certainly times where even in the small shows that I would ask the promoters to do stuff like that, because I'd had girls just repeatedly drop out from fights, you know, and they would like assure me, no, they're not, you know, and then sure enough, they would drop out. So that was really frustrating as I was coming up. Do you feel
like they were dropping out because of who you were, they were scared, or
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you know, I think at the beginning, yes, because coming from a camp that I was coming from, you know, it was like Jackson Winks, ATT, and that was pretty much it for women that were coming out at that time when I first started. There wasn't a lot of other women's like teams. And so, yeah, I think if any other women coming from like other gyms were kind of like, you know, and so it was hard for me to get fights. And I lost my first fight, decision. And then second fight, I won by armbar in like a minute and a half, knocked the girl out in 10 seconds in my third fight.
Are these like local promotions or
local
like,
promotions? Yeah.
Where did you go for? Was
the
Invicta?
First one actually? No. So the first one I fought for Victory.
Okay.
It was in Council Bluffs.
Okay.
And that's actually I don't know if they're around anymore, but it was a bigger show. It was like one of those that
more regional
feeders.
Like,
yeah. It was a feeder to bigger to jiu-jitsu and stuff at that time, like an LFA kind of.
Okay.
And then the next few were a local show called. Oh my goodness.
Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
I'm blanking on the name, but it was like in Clovis, New Mexico. Oh, Evolution. And it was like these two brothers that had started promotion, and they paid me pretty well and took care of me and stuff. It was pretty cool. And I think I fought for them for a few fights, and then I got into XFC, which was on HDNet.
Okay.
And then Access TV.
I think they're still around.
They're still around, yeah. And that was kind of like my big jump into, you know, being on TV and stuff like that. And I was fighting, you know, some of the better girls and stuff. So, and then from there, I got into Ultimate Fighter and.
So tell us about how do you get that call, or were they?
So I didn't get a call. I had to try out.
Okay.
So this season that I was in, season 20, it was actually interesting. It was for the belt, right? So it was.
And it's the first female season, right?
Because all female season. So they had a season before. I think it was 16, I believe, or 18 maybe. It was Misha and Rhonda, right? Okay. But they had guys too. So Misha and Rhonda were the coaches, but they had half women and half men.
Okay.
And then my season was the first all women's, but we still had men coaches.
Okay.
Which was I had Melendez, and then Pettis was the other coach. So, and it was also for the new strawweight belt, because it was the new introductory to the strawweight division. So it was a big thing. And so what they did is they actually took 6 women from Invicta, and they called them and they said, I'm sorry, 8 women from Invicta, and they said, we're going to give you $30K or something like that, and don't take any fights for the next year or 6 months or whatever. You're going to be on the Ultimate Fighter. So the 8 women, boom, they just got a ticket.
Is it like a deal with Invicta though? Like, okay, look, we're going to take these fighters.
I guess. I don't know exactly what, but so they got that 8 women. Then there was 8 women that had to try out.
Okay.
And one of those 8 women that was on the show already picked was Felice Herrig, who I had fought in Bellator and broke my arm on her head and had a big rivalry with this girl.
Sure.
Okay. So when I knew she was in it, I was like, I'm getting in this shit. There's no way they're not going to put me in this and give me this fight. It's going to happen. And I I felt like I deserved to be there too. You know, I had a pretty good record at the time. And, you know, just again, I'm training now at Extreme Couture. I'm Misha Tate's training partner. I'm at the top of my game. I'm ready to go in there and win this fucking belt. Yeah. And I have the best training partners. I have the best coaches. Like, I was on fire. I was so fucking ready. Trained a week with Benny the Jet. Like, I went in there. My jiu-jitsu was better. I think the jiu-jitsu that I had then, if I fought me now as a black belt, like how many years later, 9 years later, I'd still would whoop my ass today because I was just, it was MMA. Yeah. I mean, jiu-jitsu MMA, you know?
It's different.
Yeah. And just how strong I was and how like sharp I was and just everything. I mean, I like to say that, but who knows? I don't know. I know a lot more now today, but you know, I was just so ready. And then I go on the show, the first session, I'm going with Rose Namajunas, and we're in half guard, and she starts to go for a Darce, and I bridge her over, and we go off the mat, and I open like my eye right here, get 13 stitches in my eye. So I can't train for like a week or whatever. And again, I'm back to training a week later. I go with Rose again. She throws an overhand right, steps through, gets a takedown, tears my ACL.
Jesus. And you fought. Right?
I fought. Yeah. So I didn't know it was torn. I felt it pop. I got up, I stepped down, and I like had no stability. And I was like, fuck. Right. Eesh. So I go sit down. I put my belt, my leg up. I put some knee, and I'm just thinking like, okay, all right, what the fuck am I going to do? And at this point, I'm being bullied, and nobody, like, the whole team's against me. Like, it's me against me.
They didn't believe you, right?
They didn't believe me.
I have obviously a long time. I watched like the first 10 seasons religiously. Yeah. And then like life took over, work took over, and then I would see them sporadically. But that I did watch that full season. That was like one season that I watched, but I don't remember everything. Yes. But I do remember that they did not believe you, right? And there was a whole like...
They're like, you're faking it.
Right? All the clothes came out kind of?
Yeah. Right? You're telling me I'm faking it and all this shit. So then I fight Felice anyway. I like went to the fight by myself. There was this whole conspiracy about me taping my knee, because the commission said I could tape my knee, and then I taped it. And then they came in like 5 minutes before and said I had to take the tape off.
Really?
Which was bullshit. I didn't have to take that. Of course, I went in and talked to them after and blah, blah, blah. And there was like this misunderstanding. She told them I had 2 neoprene sleeves on, and I couldn't have 2 neo. I could only have tape and a neoprene sleeve, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it was like she was trying to get in my head. So anyways, I fought. I lost the decision. And then I found out like, I went got an MRI, and then I came back like a week later, and I was like, bitches, here you go, like fully torn ACL. And they were like blown, like they couldn't believe it, and they were, oh my god, I'm so sorry. But
that went away real quick too, right?
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes, and then they were like, fuck you again, you know. So and then you know, I talked to
would you do that? Would you do that all over? Like, after you did that, was it like, this is the best thing I've ever done, or this was horrible, worst thing I've ever done?
Certainly not the best thing I've ever done.
No.
But in terms of like, you know, did it make me stronger, more patient, more understanding of like myself, and you know, it's like going to jail, you know what I mean? It was they
take your phones away, right? You can't communicate with anybody, take your phones away. There's no internet, there's no communication with friends, family, loved ones, right?
Yeah.
None of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was hard. It was really hard. It was really hard. And not just because I tore my ACL, not because they were bullying me. It was like just in so many ways of like, you know, trying to find myself and be patient with myself. And I think I did a pretty good job of like not giving those girls my power on that show. Like when they would come and or be like in the kitchen, you know, literally making faces at me, like as far as you are from me right here, like making faces, talking shit about me, and I would just be like this, and I don't even know where that like patience and stability came from, and like, because I don't know if I'd even have that now, like let alone I don't know how like some peaceful like entity came in and took over my body at that time, because I was able to really. I would say like a lot of times in those situations, you got to remember, like, people normally shoot up. They're attacking up because there's something about you that they're scared of or worried about, right? Like, you don't, you know, in those situations, you're not shooting. Like, I don't
you're not on my radar.
Right.
You're on my radar.
Yep.
So like, almost like, yeah, they were scared, they were worried, they were nervous.
Yeah.
They heard about you, they heard who you were training with. Like, there has to be some of that.
Yeah, but even after I was out of the competition, after I lost the fight and stuff, like, but they just, you know, I think people like that, you know, just they have a lot of insecurities, and they think that if they pick on someone else, that they're going to make themselves feel better. Like, oh, well, if I bring that person down, then I'm going to be better.
Is it a camera time? In that situation with reality TV, is it a camera time thing? Like, okay, let's talk shit. And it could be simply like one person, like people just jump on the bandwagon and it's like, oh, this is working. They got the camera on us, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, like, how did I wind up as the target? You know, it could be something as simple as that. I think
so, but you know, I think those girls are just that way. Like, I think camera or no camera, they probably would have been doing it. Honestly,
are you friendly with anybody? Are any of those girls like still people that, like, you know, you talk to, communicate with?
I'm still really good friends with Tisha Torres, who's you know, like a sister to me.
They just had a baby, right?
Yes.
Tisha Pennington now.
Tisha Pennington,
I just saw like I think. Like official, like the name fully changed. I just noticed it like yesterday, I think.
Yeah. So, you know, we're still very close. And then Alex Chambers, she's down in Miami, actually came and visited me recently at my gym. And I've seen JoJo a few times. And who else have I seen from the show? I'm like, I mean, everybody's super cool. You know, Felice, I could care less seeing her, you know. Beck, I think I saw once, and she was actually pretty cool to me. It was a couple years later, and I think I had just been released from the UFC actually, and she said something about that being like bullshit. Yeah. So that was well, you know, if I beat you and then I get cut, so and you're still there, kind of like. So it was nice of her to say that. I guess she didn't have to say that. So she was nice at that time. And I think I've probably seen, with Jessica Penne, I've seen around, and she just
no, nothing there. Yeah,
no.
She just fought recently, right?
Did she?
Is she still fighting?
I think she is.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I feel like her last fight she got tuned up a little bit.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. It's hard to watch everything. Like this whole world for me started with like loving, like it went from boxing like watching boxing with my dad as a kid. Moved to Florida, and I had some roommates that were like, "You haven't heard of the UFC?" Here, they're like, "Sit down, watch this."
Yeah,
hooked from this was like the Tito Liddell days. Like that whole drama is when I started watching. I think that's like early 2000s. Yeah. Then I was hooked, and then just as I got older, I didn't start jiu-jitsu till I was like 41.
Nice.
And I started like. I need to, like, I always had like a punching bag hanging in like the yard or the house, so like always hitting the bag. Taught myself how to like kick, and then I started doing a little Muay Thai, and then a friend opened a jiu-jitsu gym, and I'm like, I must, like, it was a family friend. We traded marketing services for jiu-jitsu. Never paid him. Trained with him for like 2 years. We traded stuff, and so I just was like, I must know this thing.
Yeah,
I tell people like I was in love with jiu-jitsu before I even did jiu-jitsu. I was just like. Wrestled a little in junior high, so like I felt like I could, like, I'm like, there's you know, I can find something here that I can do, and just loved it from. I was like day one.
Hell yeah!
Like mainlined it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So
it's
I
obsessive.
love it from the beginning, but it's
awesome.
It's a beautiful thing, and with jiu-jitsu specifically, now that you know what you well, I know why you left, or let's tell everybody why you stopped doing MMA.
Okay.
So go ahead and tell that story if you can.
All right, sure. I was training. So after the Ultimate Fighter, I was in Extreme Couture for a little bit.
Okay.
And then I had a couple more fights, blah blah blah. And then my fight with after Alexa, I had broken my orbital. And then I went to the doctor to find out if I need surgery. And he told me that my orbital in my left eye, the plate that I got after my Carolina fight, was so far back that if I got hit there, it could like go back and take all the optic nerves and blind me, basically. So that's what a doctor told me. So I thought my career was done. And so at that time I thought, well, I better get my nose surgery because it was just so, it had been broken so many times. I thought, okay, after my last fight, I'll just have the promotion, whatever, you know, fix it. And it had just been broken in that fight. So this is a great opportunity, thinking my career was over. So I got my nose fixed. And then I went and saw 3 more doctors about my eye. and got one doctor to say, no, you're good.
He's the right one.
He's the right one.
He's the right one.
Yeah. And I just thought, well, if I get blind in one eye, I have another eye, you know, so I'll just be a pirate.
Look at Bisping, right? I think Bisping was wearing a glass eye and nobody called them out on it, right?
Nobody knew. Yeah. So
you could kind of tell it was just like always like the same size, like pupil, but nobody said anything. Right.
I think they were scared too.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, you know, I still had some left in me. So I just moved to Colorado, and I was training at Factory X. Had a fight with a Brazilian girl in Invicta, and then won the fight through decision. I was getting ready for Mizuki, who just fought Hannah Goldie this past weekend in UFC. So it was before she got in the UFC, and I was thinking, okay, this is my fucking ticket, like back to the UFC, you know? Mm-hmm. It's a co-main event in Invicta. This is like, I need to dominate this fucking fight. So I'm training, and I'm in like technical sparring with this, he's a 155er amateur guy. And he decides to show off and light me up. He like, you know, I don't even remember what punches it was or kicks, but just like lit me up. And I remember it being super hard. I remember being really upset about it, saying something to my coach because it was the last round and saying, hey, like, what the fuck was that? And Mark Montoya was like, I don't know. Let me go talk to him, you know. Goes and talks to him. Next thing I know, I'm like taking my gear off. He comes over to me, pats me on the back, like, good training. I'm like, fucking good training. Just wait till Friday sparring and I'm having my fucking boyfriend come whoop your ass. Like, I was so mad. I'm not kidding you. That's what I was thinking. I'll never forget. Like, I'm looking at him like, yeah, you're fucked. Yeah. Like, my boyfriend's gonna come fuck you up, right? And that was what I was thinking. I never got back to the gym.
Really?
Never.
That was it?
That was it.
Last time you ever sparred?
And it just started taking me into like a whirlwind of symptoms where I was having vertigo. I was having you know, just I've had chronic migraines since that day.
Even now?
Even
still?
now.
Wow.
Yeah. I've had, you know, just finding words, like just so many different symptoms that I can't seem to get past, even though I've done neurofeedback, I've done psychedelics, I've done, man. And the psychedelics.
Have you met Bo? Did I introduce you to Bo before? He's our in-house psychedelic expert.
Awesome. We'll have to talk. But so, you know, I've literally like done it all. I just did an NAD protocol. That was one of the things that I hadn't tried yet, and it felt good. Felt horrible. I was doing it, but I felt like sharper for maybe a week after. Yeah. But now I feel like I need to get more
to the point, is it debilitating? Is it like can't get out of bed in the morning? Or is it just
not anymore? I feel like
annoying.
It was there at the beginning because I was not sure how to really deal with it and manage it. Yeah. And I think that now I'm able to manage it more. I know how to like just take the medicine. So the migraine medication, they tell you that you should only take like 10 a month or something, otherwise you're going to harm yourself. And so I would like just deal with migraines on those other days and and sometimes not be able to get out of bed or deal with stuff or not be able to teach. And then I was like, my dad has chronic migraines as well. And so I was talking to him. He's like, just fucking take the medicine.
Yeah, like, just take it.
Just take it. Times. And, you know, you'll get rebounds and just take it again. And like, sometimes I'll have to get on prednisone to like break a cycle of like 12 days, literally, you know? And so I've just kind of learned to manage it like that and just take the medicine. I don't know what the hell I'm doing to myself.
How long ago was that sparring session?
I was 9/11, 2018.
9/11, 2018. Wow.
Yeah. So. But we opened our gym, 10th Planet Denver, 11/1/18. So just a couple of months later, I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I had like all this time on my hands. You know, I was used to be in training, literally wake up, train, come back, eat, okay, sleep, whatever, train, okay. Wow. It's like, that was like all day, every day. And then I had all this time on my hand. I wasn't working at the time, and I was just training. And so I talked to Connor, and I'm like, all right, he was a black belt under Eddie and wanting to open a 10th Planet in his life at some point, but you know, wasn't sure like this was the time. He wasn't sure he was ready. He you know, he was like insecure of his abilities, but I knew he was great. I knew he could do it. And I think it just needed a little bit of push, and we opened, and then he stepped up and, you know, became this amazing coach, amazing leader. We grew our team in 4.5 years before I left. We had our team till it was like, I think 350 members right before I left. So, nice. You know, and
doing the math in my head. You know,
yeah. We weren't doing so bad, or he's not doing so bad. But it's okay. You know, I'm doing mine now by myself, and I'm the first woman 10th Planet black belt to do it as on her own. Well, so
congratulations! That's awesome.
And it's like 170 moonheads, and I'm the first woman. There's
Is
other
that what they call it? What
moonheads? Yes.
Owners?
10th Planet Moons. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because so it's a 10th. So each affiliation is a 10th Planet Moon.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
I got it.
I'm one of the first. You know, there was a girl named Kim Ferguson. She was a purple belt. She had a gym in Van Nuys, who I think it was like a karate gym. I think Eddie told me. She turned it into a 10th Planet, had some black belts teaching there. She taught the kids and stuff like that. So technically, she's the first woman to have a 10th Planet, but I'm the first black belt, female 10th Planet black belt. And there's only 22 in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. 22 black belts.
Women, 10th Planet black belts.
Black belts, not moons.
No.
Okay.
170 moons. I think there's like 280 black belts, men, and then 22 female 10th Planet black belts.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
So why Boca? What brought you to Florida?
So when Connor and I had decided to split, we, you know, I love Denver. I was ready to live the rest of my life there. But then if it wasn't going to be Denver, it was going to be somewhere by the beach.
Yeah.
The beach is just my vibe, you know?
Yeah.
And my frequency. There's just no doubt about it. And so my brother had just moved to West Palm.
Okay.
And he's like sending me videos and his dog on the beach, and it's just like gorgeous. And I was like, okay, like Googled like 10th planets out here, and I started, you know, I saw Pompano, and I saw Miami, and then Palm Springs, which I think at the time he was, you know, Doel was still trying to figure out where he was going to be. So I was just like, okay, let me see. And I just started doing research, and one thing led to the next, and like I started seeing all these signs. Like I have these angel numbers tattooed on my hands, 333 and 111. And like I started seeing them everywhere. And even once I moved here, and just all the signs were just like pointing here. Yeah. But I was actually thinking Fort Lauderdale. I wasn't thinking Boca. And the reason I was thinking Fort Lauderdale, for obvious reasons, it's much bigger. It's right next to Miami. There's an airport there. Mm-hmm. Blah, 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 blah. Seems like the better option.
It's nice.
Okay, so seems like the better option. However, because there's a 10th Planet Pompano and there's a 10th Planet North Miami, it's Miami, but he's in Pembroke Pines. Yeah. I had to be 10 miles from both locations. And when it has to be from the way the crow flies, so direct shot. So when I did the circles, it put me right by the airport. And the Fort Lauderdale airport is just not nice.
It's the airport and then the port, and there's not a lot of people living there.
There are not a lot of people there. It's not a very pretty place by the airport. It's also when there was the flooding, like I just moved here, and the whole airport flooded, whole Fort Lauderdale flooded. Okay. Yeah. Do you guys remember that?
No,
like in April.
This year?
The airport turned into an ocean.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
No runways.
From what?
It was raining for like 5 days straight.
Just rain? I didn't even know about that. That's how off the radar.
There were people in their cars, getting out of their cars because they couldn't move. It was bad.
Really?
It was so bad.
I missed that whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I was like, maybe that's a sign.
Yeah.
Because there's so much like coastal water down there, and it's, you know, kind of like
it's scary living there with all this like global warming and all the talk about the sea. Like, how do you buy a house or build something that close to the coast?
Right. So, and I want to be east. I don't want to be west. So I was thinking like I want to, and also again, I'm very specifically have to be. So I was like, okay, let me just start looking in Boca, like 10 miles north of Pompano. Just let me see. I live in Delray, so that would be even better for me, actually. Okay. And then I was like, okay, I started looking, and I was working with Rose Gracie, actually, at the time on a photography business we were doing. And she goes, let's take a break. Let's go look at that location in Boca you showed me off LoopNet. Let's just take a drive. Okay. So we go take a drive, and I pull up to this shopping center. to where this place is at, and there's Combat Club Boca. And I was like, shit, I can't open 10th Planet next to a MMA gym. That's not going to work. And I go, well, let me go check it out. So I walk in, and there's crickets in there. There's like a guy in a gi and 2 guys in a gi. I was like, what's going on in here?
What's the name of the place?
It was called Combat Club Boca. There's one in Lantana. Okay. And it's a bigger gym, and it's got a lot of fighters there and stuff, and it's doing really well. And the guy one of their students wanted to do a franchise. He just said, he basically wanted to see what it was like. Yeah. Wasn't what he wanted. So then he gave it back to the original owner, and then I found it. And the original owner was like, yes, let me sell it to you, because I really didn't want to do this in the first place. I don't have time for it. As you can see, it's like struggling. So we made a deal, and that happened in like 3 days.
So it was like you can move in,
turnkey.
Mats, everything.
Turnkey, everything. Literally.
Change the sign on the door and you're good.
Yep.
That's nice. That's
awesome. It wasn't as easy as that.
I made it sound real easy. Yeah. And now you're a millionaire.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Goodness. It's been really rewarding. I have like the best students I've had. Just an amazing, I think just the energy. I really believe in like frequency and energy and attract
laws of attraction.
Yes. And how like that
we were just talking about it before you came in.
Really?
About I recently divorced, and the guys, every time I come in, he asked me today, and I was like, it's funny because Christian, our other producer, asked me last time I was here. He's like, so what's the dating like? Or are you getting on the apps and you're doing this stuff? And I go, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
It's still new. I'm so busy with work. And I'm like, but I feel like I will put it out there when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And, it's as simple as just like telling people you're going to start dating, or, making eye contact with that person. Like really you start to put up the energy and you start to tell people like I'm ready, but like, maybe it's not actually verbal. So I am a believer in like the power of the secret and that stuff. And like you're going to put, you're going to get back what you put out.
Yes. So, yes. And I have been getting the best people.
Yeah.
And like building a team. We had our first competition a couple of weeks ago, and I think we placed 7th. Yeah. Out of like 30 something teams in our first competition.
You did a
new
local,
breed.
A new breed.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Like how cool is that, right? Yeah. And it was like I was crying on the way there with just emotion of like, wow, this is like I'm the head coach. Like what?
How many students do you have now?
So we have 93 students.
It's not so bad.
And like since June. So June, July, August.
In the short amount of time.
Months,
really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing, or you like you sounded like you were on the struggle bus, but in the beginning, or do you still feel like you're there?
It's not the struggle bus so much. Like I feel abundant always. Like I'm not in lack.
Yeah.
I don't play that role. Yeah. I don't play that. I have everything I need.
So just so you know, I do own a marketing company.
Oh, cool.
And I'm not like I just can give you advice on the stuff to do. Sure. That you can do on yourself. Like a lot of things you need for local business, you can do a lot of it on your own. It's not like I would say one of the first things you can do and the easiest things you can do is ask every one of your students to leave you a review on like Google. Have you done that?
I haven't asked. Well, okay, so
you got to.
I asked.
Do you have a Google business profile, right?
Yes.
Your map listing, right?
So if you walk out my door, every
single one of them go on there.
I have a thing on the door that says, "How was your class?" with the
QR code.
QR code.
Okay.
So and I think like you'd see that walking out. But only time I said something, I did say something because we had a guy come in and leave a bad review because his kid had a ringworm, and I called him out on it, and I asked him to leave, and he left and put a 1-star review, and I was like, hey guys, remember that guy last night that came in? And so a few students went on and said something, and then the guy ended up taking it off because
I was going to say you could flag that. In the future you could flag it, try to get it taken down.
Yeah.
Have different people flag it.
Yes.
Right?
So he ended up taking it because I reached out to him like, really? You're going to be like this? Yeah. Like, I've been nothing but respectful to you and your kid, and then this is how you're going to treat me?
Believe it or not, it's one of the most powerful things that you can control to get your Google business profile found more. Make sure you're in the right category, because it's martial arts school is the category for gyms, for anything martial arts. But like that's something easy that you can do, but you do have to ask. You can't be afraid to ask, but it's such a powerful tool.
It is.
And then answer every review.
Yes.
You can go in and answer every one. So do that, answer it. And then
I have like 50 reviews, I think.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
The consistency and frequency of getting the reviews is almost more important than the amount.
How many? Okay.
So it's just like I tell somebody, don't like because if I give somebody that advice, they get 50 reviews in month 1 and then they never get another review. So like
that will hurt.
You having 50 reviews in 1 month and not getting another one for months, the guy that's getting 1 per week and has way less than 50 because he's more consistent is just giving Google that signal and is going to get found more and more. So a lot of times what happens is people don't stay consistent with those things. And then adding picture, tell them to add a picture, you add pictures like those. Consistency and frequency of updating that is what is going to get it found more. So it's just like it's not build it and they will come. You have to. It's more, that page is more important than your website. Because most people will find the website because they found that, then click on the website, right? So that's like our main product, and the main thing that we work with clients on is the Google business profile and doing those things and stuff.
In Denver, Connor used to do it because he did all that stuff. He would send, anytime we would get a visitor, he would send them like, "Hey, if you had a great, time, or whatever."
Did he do it privately? Do you have like a CRM?
Private.
Like I know like people are using Kicksite.
No, you just text them.
Yeah,
we didn't have any.
If you have like a CRM, you could do it directly from the CRM.
We went through UpLaunch for a minute, and then they were horrible customer service.
I think my coach is just switching to Kicksite, and I actually just started working with Aviv. In Boynton. They knew my coach, Sophia Amarante. They're friends. And she actually recommended it to me like a year ago. We spoke and they were like, "We're going to get back to you." And then it was like a year later, like, "We've been busy. Can we, we want to talk about it."
What's her name? She had
that's Ana Carolina Vieira.
Yes.
And the wife is everybody calls her Baby. I know her by Baby. I think it's
Anna was the one that Luana was the one that recently got put to sleep, right, on the mat.
No, it was Ana Carolina, I believe. Yeah, I think she got hurt. I haven't spoken to her about that directly. A lot of our communication has been through text, but we were before she left for that competition. She's like, "Hey, we're going to get started," and then that happened, and I'm like, "Ooh, let me not follow up," and then. So I haven't even gotten like her take on it. I just know like she got put out. Really
only thing
bad, right?
I know is Gracie called me. We spoke right after that, like that day, and she was like, "Heather, you don't even understand. Like they didn't know what to do. I had to run on the mat."
What happened exactly? Because I haven't seen
All
it.
I know is
she got put out.
Yeah,
but like she was out for a long time.
No one was
and nobody realized it. Yeah.
And nobody's touching her. Nothing. She like Rose Gracie, like got everyone out of the way, and she got on the mat, and like.
She was out for a very long time. She went to the hospital. Did she go to the hospital, right?
Yeah.
I think she spent a little time in the hospital, right?
So, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Scary. It just like, come on, this was IBJJF, right? It's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, why is there not a medic there?
I gotta be honest, I didn't see the entire match. I just saw like the clip of that part of her being out.
So scary.
So started working with them, but not on what I just described and doing like the Google ads with them.
But with
I know that she's using Kicksite because we had to add like a Google Tag Manager, so we had to send the code to them, and so I got an email back and forth. So I know a lot of people that use it. I know they're using it successfully, and I'm almost positive because my school just went to the whole like check in on the iPad, put your number in and check in.
Who are they using?
I believe it's Kicksite. We just went over to that, and now we have that.
I'm with Zen Planner.
Okay,
and Zen Planner.
Are they martial arts specific though? It is okay.
Martial arts specific. Yeah, I mean it's who we used in Denver, and so when I got this gym and everything, it was like it happened so fast. I was like, I can't learn anything new right now.
Yeah,
I just needed to like they had Mind Body originally, and I just switched it over to Zen Planner because I was like, Mind Body is the worst.
That's the hard part, and that's like it's hard to like hire somebody in house. It's hard to hire somebody outside, and then like you're building the business. But that's for like it's black belt digital marketing, but like I have more clients in tons of other industries than I do in MMA or jiu-jitsu. And but this is the same thing for everybody. It's you have to do these things, but it's the thing that everybody has to put on the back. They feel like they have to put it on the back burner, but it's the most important thing. I mean, it's just like you want people to come through the door. So it's like, again, it's not build it and they will come. You could have unless you're like already famous,
right? And
just like have a following in the area.
Sure,
it's hard to get it off the ground. But I mean, the 90 students is not bad. In 4 months, 90 students. That's like I don't want to say it's unheard of, but that's really good.
Appreciate it. It's the name. It's 10th Planet. It's not my name. It's the 10th Planet name.
Yeah.
I mean, my name helps for sure. Like what I've done and accomplished.
Yeah.
Certainly, if they go on the website because they heard a 10th Planet. And then they see, okay,
Are like male, female kids? How do you feel like? What's your ratios?
I wish we had more
say,
women.
I was going to say, like, okay, so women head coach, is the owner, like, does it, or is it just 10th Planet and everybody's, it's just like.
We're all together, yeah. I mean, I don't teach the kids classes. We have 4 kids classes, and I have 2 black belts that were actually at the Combat Club Boca before I bought it. And I kept them on to teach the kids classes. And they're awesome, both pro fighters and black belts. But they, I teach, and then I have them teach another couple classes, and then I do majoritively the other classes. I just hired another black belt to teach, a leg locks class on Sundays. Okay. I have a Laborio black belt teaching a comp class on Sundays. So we have 5 black belts now on staff. Awesome. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. And for a small gym like that, it's pretty cool. Yeah. And I don't know what was the question.
Where were we going? We were talking about struggling.
Yes. So yeah, I feel like I'm lucky because of the 10th Planet name. It like brings in a lot. Sure. But could I be doing more? Yes. But at the same time, I've been.
Forgive me, my computer's dying, so I'm bringing up my outline here.
I think that there's something to be said about growing slowly so that it keeps the culture that I'm trying to create. Mm-hmm. I actually, Yelp called me recently trying to get me to buy ads. And I was like, I'm not interested right now in ads because I'm getting, about 2 to 3 signups a week right now. And that's as much as I can really manage. Okay. Because of the way that I'm doing this on my own. Now, I have a friend coming named Travis Kalanick and his wife, Nick Dooley, that they're old training partners of mine, and they're going to be moving out in a couple months. And I'm really looking forward to sharing some of these, things that I'm doing in the gym to help. And he's going to help me. He's ran a gym in LA, not in LA, in Oxnard, California, and just has some experience. So to be able to like have someone maybe to do some of these things and I don't mind like paying and then building and then like
I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you off air my take on Yelp.
Yeah.
I
would never pay for ads on them.
Well, I'll tell you the positives and negatives of doing it when you're like ready to do it.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it. I've already talked to so many people about it, and like I wouldn't do it. But I was just saying like the whole point of why I don't even know why I gave my energy to that, but it was like. The whole point was just that I want to keep the culture. I can't handle it running it by myself right now. I want to be able to keep remembering people's names. I want to have, like when I start class, I start with, hey guys, what's up? How's everybody doing? Anybody got some special news they want to share? Anyone do anything special, anything coming up? Like, let's connect first. This is like, not just about jiu-jitsu. This is about community and camaraderie and like about supporting each other. So I got to always have that.
What you described, I call it when I'm talking to a business, and I'm doing this for my marketing company. I've owned a marketing company before for 8 years, worked for somebody else for 6, and then now open for 2 post-COVID. Nice. November is 2 years. Congrats. I call it controlled growth. Yep. You definitely... My biggest enemy is having too much business. I got lucky with like being in referral groups and been like everything is referrals. So controlled growth and being very careful not to bite off more than I can chew, and definitely being able to say, as a marketing company, being able to say, I don't think we're the right fit for you. Where my first marketing company, I took everything. Because it's like, gimme. Yeah. And then I joined another marketing company and kind of learned the secrets. But.
And if you have all these new people coming in, right, then like the people that have been there are going to get lost a little bit. And like they're more important than the new people to me. Yeah. It's like we stopped giving punch cards back in the day because it's like, oh, you're going to come in. I'm not going to give incentive to let you come in once a month, right? Because now you're going to take all my time trying to me to explain the move when my guys that have been here every single day should be the ones getting my time.
Wait, a punch card like to get like free class or something?
Well, or like 20 classes for, X amount. So instead of coming in and paying a drop in for $25, you get a punch card for, $200. It's, $20 instead of $25. So I'm giving you a break. But then we stop doing that. Once it was a pain in the ass to keep track. 2, I'm not going to make it incentivize. I'm not going to incentivize somebody to come, once or twice a month or whatever, because you're the ones that I'm going to be spending way more time with. Yeah. And I want to incentivize, right? That's why members that get year contracts get cheaper dues because they're going to be coming in, they're making that commitment, they're going to be coming in hopefully more. And those are the ones that I want to be giving my energy to. And I think a lot of coaches mess that up. I think that they are like, oh, I got to get more new members. And they're like focusing on the new members because I want to get those signups. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to give you to like the assistant coaches, really. And then I'm focusing on my guys, you know, and hopefully the new guys are seeing how I'm treating them, but also the ones that have been here, and that they'll see that that's how they're going to be treated too. You know,
the other thing I say besides the controlled growth is like when I'm giving advice to a company, I usually tell them to like let the business steer. The business is going to kind of tell you where it needs to go. It will tell you like, okay, it's time to advertise. Like you'll feel it, you'll know, but it's okay to take those cues. Like again, my first company, it was like motorsports related, and this was 2008, and the bottom fell out of the motorsports industry. So we were like, okay, I guess we're not doing that. And we quickly changed the name. Bo worked with me back then, and we like changed the logo on the website, and we're like, maybe we have to sell to everybody. And even like now, it's like black belt digital marketing. It was never meant to just like to market to MMA or BJJ, but it's like I do jiu-jitsu, and I say I'm a black belt at marketing. I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but I'm a black belt at marketing is my little tagline that I say for now. But it's not related to that. The business just like it steered me towards just like working with everybody. So it's just like, you know, I follow that and it's served me well, you know, so, and again, when you said 90, I did not think you would say 90 students in 4 months. So, I mean, that's really good. And then like, you know, it'll keep on going in the right direction, you know? All right. So we got a couple of listener questions. And then we'll go into what we call our drill down, where we go. These are like kind of like the most common questions that we get from everybody. Yeah. So we'll go through those, and then we'll wrap it up. Sweet. So okay, I'm sure that one of these, or maybe both of them know you. I know one of them. You'll know why. Okay. I think he probably knows you, but we're going to go with the first one. This first one's from Munzie03 on Instagram. It says, hi, Heather. What is your favorite submission or technique?
All right. I think that's from my friend Ray.
Now, you might have to give us not just the 10th planet name of that move. You got to tell us like the common name.
Well, I only know it as a 10th planet
The wibbly wobbly, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there's another name. I don't think anybody else is doing it. Okay, so my favorite, like today, lately is the truck. I've been putting people in the truck and finishing. I know. Yes.
We call that one the truck.
You call it the truck.
We do call it the truck.
So I've been I've been really kind of dissecting that position for a few years, and I feel like I'm really getting it these days. Yeah. I met somebody in Austin named Kamoy Anderson, who's like Eddie says is one of the best truckers in the world, one of the best. And I did a little private with him, and he showed me some like entries, and from him showing those entries, I've like understood it to another level, and now I'm like breaking it down for my students even more, and I'm in love with it. So from the truck, though, it's just a position. I like to go to the snap, to like the calf crank, or the ultra crotch ripper.
I think we call that the pee-pee splitter.
It's like a banana split, but it's a little bit more. So like banana split, you're like going this way, which the crotch ripper, you're like you're like ripping the legs like this way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My coach does a lot of lockdowns, so like him and Brandon I think kind of exchange ideas every once in a while. That like Brandon McCaffrey's got some great stuff out there with that. My coach got us into the lockdown, and now we have like this like on Friday nights we do a no-gi only, and it's turned into all we do is variations of the lockdown into some things that he's kind of played with, and that's it. Awesome. So we just do that, and then we had like it's usually we consider it like an advanced class, so it's just like no white belts, or you're competing maybe, but it's the higher level guys, and that's all we do for 1 hour is just doing drilling variations of that. I don't know. This is one thing I don't know what anybody else would call it, but it's like you're in the lockdown, you're letting go of the lockdown, and then kind of you fold the leg to the outside. I don't know if there's a name for that.
Are you with the butterfly?
If I'm on the inside lockdown, right, I'm letting go, and then I'm folding their leg. So now they've got to roll. So like if I'm being locked down on this leg, I'm letting it go, and my leg is being cranked this way. So I've got to give up the sweep. Okay. So, I think it's called the grandfather sweep, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Look it up. We call it the fold.
Yeah.
that one's like a simple name.
So we get there from, so if we're like side control and we start doing what we call the claw, which is you take that outside leg to grab that leg. So you're pulling them into half guard, but they resist. And then that leg is out like that. And then you sweep them from side control, which is the same position. I believe that's called the grandfather sweep. I'll have to double check.
That's where I mentioned Happy Baby before as one of our like joke from the lockdown to like, I think it's like the beginning of what you guys would do, like the whip down, like bringing somebody, getting them up. We call it Happy Baby because you're picking them up under.
Nice.
Happy Baby.
Happy Baby. Nice.
All right. The next question is David Rodriguez. Do you know who David is?
I don't.
Okay. Because this, when they asked a silly question, I'm like, they must know. They said, what's your favorite cereal and why?
Shit.
This guy, he just wants a free t-shirt. We give out a t-shirt or a mug. So that's I'm like, either they know you or they want a free t-shirt.
I don't, I haven't been eating cereal these days. If I have cereal, it's usually granola in my acai bowls that I make. Yeah.
Granola? Okay.
And I've been eating them with my favorite protein called Phyta protein by a old UFC vet who, oh my gosh, I'm just loving my word finding today.
That's okay. I have that problem right here. This,
yeah, right.
Actually, this is part of why I started taking it. I'm like that when they came to us, I was just like, my recall is getting horrible the older I get. So I'm always like, guys, like,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten hit in the head a lot, so I don't know. So for me, it's definitely age. I'm like 50 now, so it's like.
You don't look 50.
Thank you.
James Wilkes. James Wilkes.
I know that name.
You know that? Yeah. So he was on The Ultimate Fighter, I believe. So the one of the beginning ones, and he has a protein named Phyta, FTYA or something. It's so good. It's plant-based, but it's amazing. It tastes good. Doesn't have any stevia or any like artificial shit, which by the way, you got to check out. That stuff is going to kill people. Honey on everything. I don't even keep sugar in the house. That's good. Only honey. But like since no one's ever asked me my favorite cereal on the show, Fruity Pebbles, but I never get it. Because I will. It's so bad for you.
They usually like the only store.
5 and
the only store that has like the bigger boxes. If you go to like Walmart, the shopping, the ones with the grocery stores inside of it, they'll sell like the bigger family size ones. But all the other stores always have the little one. As a matter of fact, like if I went out drinking with my friends back in the day, there was a 7-Eleven by my building, and I would stop and get a milk
and a little box
and the box because it was always the small box that they sold, and I would eat that entire thing. In like a big bowl and just eat that whole thing and then go to sleep. So that was like, that's like my guilty pleasure, but I don't get it because I'll eat it like that. So I love it, but I can't,
so bad.
I don't keep anything good in the house. It's like everything for me. These days I'm trying to do good. Like everything is whole foods, organic if I can get it. My junk food is even organic, or like low sugar and stuff like that. Sometimes it's boring though. It's like,
hey, if you need some recipes, I got you.
I've had, there's a place called Pliables. I know they're
amazing.
Pliables.
Yeah, super good.
And I'll get like I just moved across the street from it now, walking distance, my building. I just walk downstairs and I can go across the street. And that's like you said, the granola, like I'll get like extra. I'll always keep like some extra granola at the house just to put some extra on it. Because if you get extra, like you don't eat, if I don't eat it all, it gets wet and soggy. So one thing that you can't put it in the fridge and eat the next day because it gets soggy.
Sure.
So I like always get some on the side, but that satisfies my sweet.
Totally.
They put honey on it. They'll get like some extra pineapple. That satisfies my sweet tooth. That's my thing.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me, it's hard to diet because I'm the sweet tooth.
I have a sweet tooth too. But if you get off of it for a while and you just do fruit, then when you go back to it, you're like, oh, that shit's gross. Yeah. I bet if you haven't had like real, like crappy sugar, anything in a while, I bet if you tried it right now, you would be grossed out.
My wife would get like the canister. So she'd like grab a canister from work, just like when we're gonna have company or there's a party, like, and we know we have to like serve coffee at some point. Like she'd get it, and then it would stay in the fridge forever, and no one would use it. Maybe if I ran out of honey, I would try it, and then I'd be like, oh, "This is so." Like first of all, it would be like it's not gonna taste the same. It tastes bad, and then also like, oh, what am I doing to myself?
But I just mean like try a freaking Snickers or Reese's Pieces or something, and you're gonna be like, if you haven't had that shit in a while and you've just been eating real fruit sugar. It just tastes great.
Okay.
And you'll be turned off of it. But if you make yourself eat it and then you keep eating it, you'll get it right back, that craving. It's crazy. It's no, I mean, because I've cut weight, right? So many a times and cut it out and then the same thing. And then you just like get back on that shit.
I'm trying to get back to like a higher protein diet, getting like working out more higher protein.
Nice.
But it's hard. Like I don't crave, like people, like I think like if they don't eat steak for a while, they crave steak. Like I don't crave red meat. So that's kind of like a good thing.
I'm vegan.
But I'm also, okay. So but you ate meat at some point? Like, do you crave
22 years.
Do you have, 22, that's a long time. Do you ever crave it? Like,
No.
do you see a steak and be like, oh, that steak would be so good right now? No? This is the other way? Is it more for the health or the animal cruelty side of it or both? Yeah.
Now, I mean, I used to not be so bad. I've gotten really bad. Now I see it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I've got some training partners around me that are like, gotta eat it, gotta eat the meat, you know. I know that my listeners will probably, I've said this a million times, I talk about it so often, it's a big part of me. I did have a heart attack, like 6 years ago now. So after that, I went, like, I did vegan for a little bit, then I backed into just like vegetarian, and then I backed into pescatarian, and now I'm just like back. Okay. But just like, again, it's like if I eat meat, it's like the organic, I'm buying the organic. Like I feel like, I think it's less about the meat or the eggs and the high cholesterol, and it's more about the chemicals and the other things that are in it. You know, like, so if I'm gonna eat what my cardiologist would consider bad, I'm eating the organic or whole foods version of it.
And you've been checking and everything's good, right?
Yeah, I'm like, they're like,
you're doing good.
Yeah, I did my last stress test last year. She's the doctor, so she's like, you have a normal heart, and I said, normal for somebody who had a heart attack or normal for somebody who she's like, normal. Like there's only one normal. You're normal, you're good. And she gave me the okay to like start trying some like supplements, and I was going to do TRT, but I didn't do TRT. I was like, a little too much. I don't want to, start sticking stuff in my body. I'm not ready for that yet. Yeah. But I know that's like a big thing for at least the guys in this community.
Actually, I've had to go on testosterone replacement. Yeah. After I got my concussion, one of the things that they say is hormonal stuff, right? A lot of veterans, a lot of them, they're realizing from brain trauma that it affects your hormones. So I obviously been testing that over the last 4 years or 5 years now. And it was always normal until I did it once, and it was 3. So women are supposed to be between 80 and 100 is what my doctor told me. Okay. Mine was 3.
Oh, okay.
3, like number 3. And so I had to go on replacement.
Is part of that like you were such a high level for so long, and your body's producing it because of the activity?
It could be, or it could be brain trauma. It could be, just age. It could be like my like hormonally, because I'm going to premenopausal, and so that's messing with my estrogen and my progesterone, and it's like a clock, right? So like if the progesterone and estrogen is off, then the testosterone's off, and then if the testosterone gets better, then that gets better. So it's like you kind of have to play with this, one or the other, and which one you gonna do. And like first I went on progesterone, and oh man, I had like all these crazy symptoms, and then I was like, well, let's try just see the testosterone. And then I realized there, and then I started doing that, and I feel so much better. Yeah, so much better.
I have one other question. This is something that I've asked a few of the 10th Planet people that we've had on before. So there's this aura around, like when you go to a competition, you see the 10th Planet rash guard, you're like, oh gosh, I don't, I know people like, I don't compete right now, but I've competed at my lower belts, and like, oh shit, 10th Planet guy, like, oh God, well, watch your legs, right? Forget about the allure for a second. My question is like, so somebody that wants to come into a 10th Planet, who's been doing jiu-jitsu like 9 years in, it seems so interesting to me, but it also seems scary. Like it's like starting over. But the longer I get in this, the less I'm more like, I would not mind. Like, I guess I point at like Rogan. Like Rogan did jiu-jitsu, right? He was a black belt first, and then he went into 10th Planet. He's a black belt under Higan Machado, and under Eddie. I believe that he had his jiu-jitsu black belt from Higan, and then he went to Eddie. I thought that's what it was. I thought that was kind of what he did, or at least he maybe has like a belt under both. Yeah, I feel like I'm not scared to say like, I'm a brown belt in my school's jiu-jitsu. I've been there so long. I'm a black belt. I'm a brown belt in my school's jiu-jitsu. I would, as a lower belt, I probably would have been like, I don't want to go start someplace new and I'm going to get held back. Now I'm like, now it intrigues me.
Sure.
Do you have people that come in like that, like from other schools? It's like, what's that workflow for them? Like they've got to start in the big, like I don't care about the level that I am called or anything like that. It's like, wow, I'm learning jiu-jitsu all over again because it's such a unique version of jiu-jitsu.
It's a very great question, and I get it a lot from upper belts that come in, right?
Sure.
All belts, blue up. And whatever belt you are, you come in, you're that belt. Now, in terms of getting to the next belt, you do need to come up and learn the language, right? But it's not, if you are, as a brown belt, for you to learn the language is going to take you much shorter time because you understand the concepts of jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
For me to teach you a move or one of the warm-up flows, I could teach you that probably in 20 minutes. If I took a white belt, it's going to take me hours to teach that, right? So, and they're still not going to know it. They're not going to remember it, but I could teach it to you and you're probably going to remember it because you understand the concepts. You probably have some of the moves already even made. It just is a different name.
It's a different name,
Yeah. Or just a slight different variation to it, right? And so I have a purple belt, a woman who just joined my team from Brazilian top team. And she's with me and, you know, I've kind of explained this too. It's like the more she comes and learns this language, she's just going to get promoted as a 10th Planet brown belt in the system because now she knows what she knows, but she also knows this. And then there's coaches out there that don't even go off of the warm-ups, that don't even necessarily have all the 10 like you could be, getting a blue belt or a purple belt and not really even know rubber guard, but you're good at what you're good at and you're understanding the game and you're understanding the concepts and you're not, getting tapped or you're whatever. Like there's so I guess what the point is for, at least for me and for Denver, we don't have a set curriculum for a blue belt, a purple belt, a brown belt, right? It's based more on, like understanding the game and to what level you understand that game. Okay. And then, the warm-ups are a great staple of the curriculum in terms of how I promote. So if you can go and learn like the warm-ups, you're pretty much should be a blue belt. Like if you could run through the warm-up and understand that, like, not just saying that you're going to be pulling all those moves off in live rolls, but that like you can understand the fundamental. Those are all pretty much fundamental moves. Even more so than that. So I have created a curriculum as well over the last couple of years of 45 classes, and that's what I teach in my fundamental classes. And those are, some are 10 Planet names. There's a truck day, but then there's also an armbar day, and then there's an armbar that I call the nasty armbar. That's an arm drag armbar. And it's not a 10th Planet name, but it's part of my fundamental curriculum, Okay. So like I be coming from other outside jiu-jitsu, and my jiu-jitsu is probably a mix of all different types of jiu-jitsu, right? Because it's catch wrestling, some stuff that I met, got from Misha, and then Robert Follis, he's got it. It's very like Randy Couture and Matt Lindland, so it's very wrestling based stuff. Sure. And then I get the stuff from Gracie Baja, like one of my coaches, Barata, and Gracie Baja taught me stuff. So like I have a very like eclectic jiu-jitsu style, and I'm going to teach not just 10th Planet stuff. I'm going to teach what works for me, and then I'm going to bring in my guy, like I just hired this guy Jason, a black belt, to teach his leg lock, and I want him to teach the way he does it. Now I want him to learn the 10th Planet, like this is honey hole, and this not 411 or whatever, or Ashi is Ashi and not, I don't know what all the other names. So like he's got, like, we have to kind of come to this same like the guys that are teaching need to know. Together, they got to bring them together and know, like, this is what I learned it as, but this is the 10th Planet name. But, in terms of like doing it this way, it's an art. It's not a science.
How flexible does, this is really me asking, because I know the longer I do this, the less flexible I am. It's just like, why is this
the more you do it, the less flexible?
But it's funny, like when I just go stretch. Yeah. I'm like, oh God, but then when I wrote, I don't know this.
When you're warm.
Yeah, I'm like, once I'm warmed up and I'm like, I do this really weird, just like, I don't even know if you would call it guard. I just like totally open my legs and lay on my back to like get people to come in, you know? And they're like, what is this? Because they can't reach my legs to like flip me or do that kind of stuff. So, I like when I'm on the floor doing that, I'm just like, oh, I can't even stretch. But then I do that and they're like, what the? Yeah.
Yoga.
Yeah. I've done like, I do like some yoga stretch. I'm horrible at the stretching. I'm usually so sore that I'm like massage gunning before class more than stretching. So that's like bad on me.
And stretching cold really isn't really going to do much anyways. You want to roll, like before training, roll out, massage gun. Yeah. And then dynamic stretching. So stretching with movement, you know, warming the muscles up as you're stretching.
Okay. Yeah.
And then stretching comes in when you're warm and like after. And you can roll out after too.
Yeah.
But yoga, there's a yoga that we do if you ever want to come check it out in my gym on Saturdays.
Cool. Okay.
Called Raja Yoga. Okay. And it's all restorative. It's like yin, but it's a little bit different, more meditative. But you're holding postures for a really long time, and they're all on the mat. Okay. And they suck, and it's horrible.
You're not making this sound good.
No, but I feel so good after. It's like an hour and a half. We turn the heat up a little bit. It's not like hot yoga, but it's just warm in there. Yeah. And it's amazing. Come try it.
We started probably, maybe it was about a 6-month period at my gym. We started doing yoga before our Saturday open mat. And I loved that because I was getting that stretching, and then I was like, once I got on, I was like, I was so relaxed.
Less
but I was
injuries
also,
happen. Yes,
but I do where I've just moved post divorce. I got a 3-bedroom so that I have one room that's just mats.
Awesome.
So now, but I don't get in there enough before. Like I don't stop work long enough to like massage gun is like the most important thing to me. I feel like I get most of the owies out, like the pain. And then if I have time, I've got like the foam rollers, the So Right.
So Right's
I've
awful.
got the oh, you don't like this? Oh God, I love the So Right.
Yeah, no, it's really dangerous.
The chirp wheel. I have all 3 chirp wheels. I love those. So like if I get in there and I've got an inversion table, so like I've got all that stuff.
Awesome.
I definitely don't use them enough. But I know, again, for somebody like me, I had somebody on Paul Geller. He's an attorney. He's a black belt, an ATT black belt. Yeah. Paul Geller. Yep.
Is he with Pompano? MP Pompano?
So he's been training it. Yes. So he's the one that brought it up to me, and he's like, I started training. I think he still trains at ATT, or maybe he still trains at his old gym. But he's like, I started taking classes at 10th Planet. He's like, I've got to understand this other side.
And he also lives in Vail.
I think that he,
right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
He came and came up and visited me before he went back to Vail. Okay. And bought some gear.
He came on after the lawsuit with this kid that won the man that won like the $46 million. Yeah. So the Henner thing million. Blew it it was like 46, right? Yeah. The Henner thing blew it up. And I don't remember how, I think he sent, we wound up communicating via email. And he was interested in coming in and talking about it, and I was just like, "This is perfect time. Like, yeah, let's talk about this. That sounded great." I had an opening. We had him come on, so I met him, and then he met 10th Planet. So I've had it in my mind. I'm like, I love my gym, and I will always be at my gym. But I feel like at this level, like I'm not worried about like that. What do they call it? Créanche, traveling to another gym and trying it. So he got it in my head to I'm like 10th Planet is probably like the perfect, the thing that I'm missing, like that for my jiu-jitsu.
And you can bring it back to your gym and show them. It's like, so Saturdays we have an all levels class I teach at 12, and then the yoga's at 1:30. So you could get a little bit of 10th Planet jiu-jitsu and then some yoga.
One of the reasons that we brought the podcast back, we were filming in Miami. I live in Coral Springs, so I'm like a half hour. So I was wanted to get back into our community. We were my school was part of Fight Sports before all the craziness in Fight Sports happened. So when we moved down to Miami, we were like, yeah, we're going to get into the belly of the beast for our school. And then all that craziness happened, and it was just like,
step back.
My school stepped away from Fight Sports, so then it was just like, well, it's kind of hard to have those people. We had Wagner on, and then 2 weeks later, all that craziness came out. So then it was just like, we're down here because I was okay. I'm closer to Fight Sports HQ and all just that group of pros. Like, great, we can get all these guys on the show. So I'm happy to be back up here because now everybody I'm trying to bring in as many locals as possible. and just kind of develop those relationships. And I would like to travel. There's a selfish reason too. I would like to, to try out some of the other gyms. So I'm gonna take you up on that.
Once a week, I teach a black belt from ATT. We've been doing truck stuff. He wants to learn. He wants to learn 10-5 stuff. So he's paying me privates.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
very cool.
Yeah, I think people are starting to understand that, like they need to learn it too. And I mean, it's all obviously BMAX got so much stuff out there.
I love his stuff.
And you can get all Eddie's content for $5 a month.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
Mastering the System is $5 a month.
Oh, wow.
You have access to all the past stuff, all the new stuff he's putting on. I mean, it's insane the amount of stuff you can get out there. That's free. That's also cheap. That's
maybe like once every 2 months, I go back to, he's got like the lockdown. Like there's a lockdown video that he has that I always go back to. Yeah, I'll go back to it. And just like he shows like the lockdown to the sweep, right? Like
old school sweep.
Yeah, like the old school. Like I think he does it with the leg.
The
like
toes?
I think he's grabbing the leg. He's got the leg.
Oh, you're talking about electric sweep?
Electric chair.
The electric chair sweep.
So as soon as I get the leg, I guess I've always just called it the banana split. I don't know that I've called the sweep anything. So my coach calls it the pee-pee splitter. I call it the banana split because in wrestling they kind of call that the pee-pee. Pee-pee. The little guy splitter.
Got it.
So again, that's like that. Those are the names that we come up with. So anyway, so I'm gonna take you up on that. I've been talking to some of my training partners about we're it's okay to travel. Like that whole crayonch thing isn't so bad when you're at a little bit of a higher level. And we even talked about it on the last show when I had my training partners. I'm like, it's okay to go to open mats. Don't feel weird, but tell your coach.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want him to see you on Instagram at another school and go like, did he quit my school? Like, hey, I'm going to travel. I'm just doing this for this, but I'm not going anywhere, coach. Yeah. But I think like once you get to a little bit high, especially if you're traveling, it's okay. Like you're not going to, I think those days are kind of gone a little bit.
I hope so. Cause I think cross training is amazing for everybody. Yeah. I think it's, I think everybody needs to cross train and learn and train with other people and get new looks and stuff like that. Because you're going to learn the same stuff and you're going to go into your guy. He knows your game and blah, blah, blah.
I love when I get that one of the reasons I love watching like BMAC videos and like I love Jason Scully videos. Like I like to get oh my God, when the foot is there,
yes.
Oh God, it changes everything.
So good. His just hip out just here and it like opens the whole thing up. He's a wonderful coach.
And the way that he explains it is really good. We've had him on once and we had plans to bring him on again, and then he's just kind of blown up with the commentating and he's just like he's never around. So I feel like when I ask, like he always says yes, but it's always like we got to find the right time.
I'd love to get him
I would love to have him in, but I know like he's constantly traveling. Oh my God, if you have him come in,
I'll let you know.
I've never met him face to face. We did it by Zoom.
Yeah.
When we did it. Okay, so we're gonna wrap things up, but we're gonna do the
drill down.
Found a sound effects guy. So these are like the most common questions that we ask, and some of these I'm gonna like kind of glaze over because it's just like, well, you're 10th planet, so you don't do any gi. Like, so the first question is preference, gi or no gi?
Oh, no gi.
No gi. Takedown or pull guard?
Takedown.
Okay. Music during roll.
We will say on our team, we will not kick you off the team for pulling guard, but we will think about it.
I'm a guard. I'm a guard puller.
Okay.
Again,
I won't hold it against you.
A lot of it we talked about it a lot. It's like I've been the bigger guy in my training room for so long that I almost feel bad taking people down because it's just like I'm already scary to roll with for either a woman or somebody that's under 200 pounds, and they're like, oh God, this guy's going to take me down, and like it's scary for them. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to take him down and or I'm going to pull guard.
It's much better too with the gi, like you can hold somebody like so,
that is also true. It's this definitely different. When I do no gi, that's usually we're going to stay on our feet a little bit longer until somebody takes down. And just like our no gi classes usually has a little bit more room. Sure. Our gi classes are really full, and like if I'm going to take somebody down, we're going to hit on somebody. So I just kind of like started to do it. But I'm also like I'm not looking to be a professional like fighter or like so. It's like also I'm there for me, and then I also know I'm like I don't want to hurt somebody, and I also don't want to get hurt. And that's usually when you get those scrambles.
Yes.
People get hurt.
I get it.
Music during rolling.
Yes, always.
Always. What's your go-to?
It's either EDM or hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Ray said, one of my trading partners, I was surprised because he's such like a hard rock, like metal guy.
Yeah.
And he said EDM.
EDM?
Yeah. He was just, that shocked me. He's like, I'm like, do you listen to it in the car? He's like, no. But he's like, I love it when I'm rolling. Yeah. So when you're not on the mat, are you somebody that watches a lot of jiu-jitsu? Are you watching videos, the matches, the WNOs, the UFCs? Are you watching everything?
Always. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely, as much as I can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Since I've been here, I just feel like I
shadow boxing in front of the TV when there's a UFC on. I'm like, come on,
I'm not so bad about that. No, right. I really get into it, and I'm usually talking and yelling it. Usually, I'm usually saying shit about the commentators because they just piss me off sometimes. Yeah, I don't know, like. John Jones and I have been friends since back then. So DC just drives me crazy.
Really?
Yes. His jiu-jitsu knowledge is just sucks. It's like he just says, it just pisses me off. And then I'm not a big Dominic Cruz fan. So he pisses me off.
I never liked Dominic Cruz as a fighter. I didn't like the talking. I didn't like he would like I guess like his mindset had to be like, I have to hate you to fight you. So like he would like, why are you like fighting with this? Like you're making up these like, this
story.
Yeah. Not even a story. It was just like, I hate you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to, like it just went so over the top, but it was like not even because something really happened, you know? But I do think he's an awesome commentator.
I don't think so.
I think that I have to give that's happened with, there's a couple of times that's happened with like boxing. I forget, there's a Showtime, I forget his name. There's a Showtime boxing commentator. I think he got like Me Too'd, and I don't think he's on the air. He said something, I don't even think it was Me Too, excuse me. It was like, he said something like racist and they took him off air, but like horrible. I hated the personality.
Yeah.
But then they were like this awesome commentator. I'm like, this like talented. Who does Submission Underground? Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
Chael, same thing. I'm like, oh God, this the manufactured craziness around like he's still like I'm the number one martial artist in the world. Like after he just gets beat.
Yeah.
But he's an awesome commentator, and I do like to watch his stuff. Like I put his stuff on, like I'll find his channel and just watch his videos where it's got like those like he does like maybe 15-20 minute video about a subject or his show. So there's been times that I've found somebody I'm like, ugh.
Some people.
But I do get DC. I like DC, but I do get the commentating side is a little bit more.
And he starts arguing with the other guy sometimes, and it's like he gets off subject. They start talking about random shit. I feel like he's stoned or something, and he's just like going off on some tangent.
Somebody called him out for eating.
Get back to the freaking fight.
I think somebody called him out for eating cake during their fight the other day.
Man.
He was like eating. See? The fight is going on. He's eating cake.
See what I'm saying? Like, take it serious. Take it serious.
So, okay, we know who you don't like. Yeah. Who are your favorite MMA fighters to watch, or jiu-jitsu, either or?
Yeah, obviously I just said John Jones. Obviously is the GOAT. I think he's just phenomenal. I can't wait for this fight coming up.
Yeah, what do you think about this with Stipe?
He's got it. Yeah. But I think it's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah,
I don't think that John's gonna end it quickly. I think Stipe is very, very strong and tough, and it's not gonna be an easy fight. Yeah. But John's gonna come out on top for sure.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I really, in terms of jiu-jitsu, like Fionn is amazing. I love her personality. Yeah. She's really great. There's a girl from 10th Planet Austin named Lauren Sears. She's a brown belt. I got to meet her a little bit in Austin about a month ago when I was out there, and I just love her tenacity and her style. She's very 10th Planet-y, does a lot of rubber guard stuff, and like her story is just really cool too. So I really like following her and seeing what she's going to be a Tempe Moonhead as well one day. So that's cool. That's nice. Cool to watch. And she's up on the scene. Let's see, who else? Men-wise, jiu-jitsu. I mean, Craig Jones is one of my favorites to watch for jiu-jitsu, but just because he's funny. Like, he's hilarious to me.
Have you seen his videos over the last couple of days about flow grappling?
Yes, yeah.
I reposted one of those because I love his stuff. I was surprised that like he's that vocal, but I guess like there comes a point where you're that big that you can do that.
Yeah, I mean,
like a smaller somebody with not as big a name would do that and probably like get kicked off a card or not be welcome back.
I love that. I love that you got to be able to speak your feelings and like you have the playing field to do so and the voice, like do it. I'm all
there's
about
places now because like you got Fight Pass, you got Flow Grappling. There are other places to be where you're not like so married to or tied to one organization.
Absolutely.
But he's fun.
He's hilarious.
He's a fun follow.
Yeah.
Man. He's an absolutely fun follow.
Yeah,
you see all the sumo stuff the other day too?
I didn't see the sumo stuff.
Yeah, I guess when they did what was this? The last fight they went to was the team fight.
Quintet one.
The quintet. I guess they stayed over there and they did some like
they did
some shoots with like Nicky Rod and him got. They're in the the gear, they're in that. I don't know what you call that. And they're awesome. They did some sumo stuff, and it was kind of funny.
Awesome.
I think he wound up like doing like a jiu-jitsu move on one of the guys and like got him to tap out. It was
my god!
Yeah, it's
on
funny.
the sumo guy.
Yeah, on the sumo guy. Like they did, it looked like it was like set up, but
hilarious.
it was funny.
That's cool.
Ultimate goal in the world of jiu-jitsu and MMA. What do you want your like legacy to be?
So when I was fighting, obviously I wanted to become a UFC champion, and didn't happen this lifetime, but maybe next. As far as jiu-jitsu goes, I am going to come back and compete again. I'm working out, starting to train again. And, I'd like to get in a Medusa fight, like a super fight and just fucking maybe combat jiu-jitsu.
Would you not like the IBJJF scene? Like you're not.
I've thought about it. So we do like this December. We're all going to Worlds and we're competing under one 10th Planet name.
Oh, okay.
So we are coming to take over.
Wow.
So be ready. World, because 10P is coming on December to Worlds in Vegas. But yeah, so I would like maybe like not that's too soon for me because I still haven't even like hit the road, so to speak. But maybe next year I could be, that could be something like a black belt Worlds IBJJF. Yeah, maybe. But really more thinking like pro matches and like a Medusa, like a big stage. I think it would be so cool.
Had you done that before, or it
Not
was right into MMA? Right,
straight into MMA. I've done a few tournaments, but small tournaments. I've never done any pro matches, and I think the first one I'm going to do is like a high rollers match.
Okay.
I'm friends with Lonnie, the owner, and I've been thinking about like who I want to ask. And I want it to be someone like UFC or MMA.
A bigger name?
Bigger name. Yeah. It doesn't have to be retired necessarily. Like I was thinking actually Angela Hill from my show because Tisha fought her last year and I cornered Tisha. I helped Tisha for her jiu-jitsu that camp. And then I saw Angela and like we're cool. We're like, so I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like, damn, like, maybe retired? Maybe retired's better.
Maybe, it could go either
just
way.
Because, but
I
don't know.
She's fun to, talking about commentators, I've enjoyed, like, I don't know if
funny.
she's still doing, I can't remember seeing her recently, but I do like her take on it. And
she does her homework. She does, and she follows the sport and really pays attention. So I have to say, like, the stuff that I've seen her do too is, it's good, yeah. But
so our very last question is usually we like call it our biggest question, but you don't do gi. So we're usually asking everybody if they wash their belts, and it's always like 50-50. Like I never wash my belt. Okay. Like blood of my opponent is on my like you. How could you wash off their blood and sweat? I'm a belt washer, so I've always
I would be a belt washer. I would be.
Okay, yes. There you go. Okay, good enough. We got team wash your belt. All right, so I'll give you. I got some shirts. I got some stuff for you. We always have some podcast stuff. But do you want anybody you want to shout out? Let everybody know. Obviously, the Instagram, your location, if you want to give out your address, and anybody you're working with, anybody you want to shout out. This is your time.
All right,
right there. The camera with the light. Yeah, that's you.
So if you guys want to come check out my gym, it is 10th Planet Boca Raton. It's in Boca Raton, and that's 170 Yamato Road. If you just Google 10th Planet Boca, you're going to find it. I have my website up there. You're going to find our classes. We got classes, midday, evening, weekends, all that. We have takedowns, and we got jiu-jitsu. We got the Tempe warm-up, flows jiu-jitsu, combat jiu-jitsu. Just hired Ian Heinisch from the UFC, teaching combat jiu-jitsu. We got 5 black belts on staff. We got leg lock classes. I got a Division I wrestling coach.
Oh, wow.
He was a Division I wrestler. He's one of our coaches. So, top quality coaches. You can find us on Instagram at 10th Planet Boca Raton. You can find me at Heather Jo Clark, Heather J.O. Clark for Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. I just want to say shout out to my team, to my team that shows up every day, allows me to get on the mats and show them what I love and what I'm passionate about, and to teach my magic, because believe me, this is my magic to give back to the world. And I believe that it's more than just jiu-jitsu, right? It's about learning how to be a person on and off the mats. And it's every day I do a quote of the day after class.
Very cool.
And I correlate how that quote is in the world, but also how it correlates to being on the mat.
Gotcha.
And how they're just all one. How you are on the mat is how you are in real life. It's, I'll end with this as a quote that I always use is, how you do anything is how you do everything.
There you go. Good way to end it.
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
So I got some stuff for you. So let's. So first we get you our Jiu-Jitsu Dummies mug. I'm also going to give you. We have a black belt digital marketing mug. Let me put this back in here. I also got a little. We got a little rubber keychain. Put it in here.
All right.
I'll put it in here. Let me wrap it up again. Also, I just got Flow and Roll. We do have our t-shirts on our website. Okay. But Flow and Roll does a shirt and does it for us. What size are you? These are men's
I'd say medium.
Shirt. Medium. Here you go. So we've got our shirt, and then we got the Flow and Roll logo on the back.
Thank you.
So there you go. I'm gonna wrap. Oh, Bo, I got one for you. Bo, you're a medium, right? I got to take out a medium for you. I gave Ben a shirt already before. You blew up a little bit? I got to get you one out of the box, so we'll get it for you before the end. But thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you coming on. Definitely going to pay you a visit in the near future.
Yes.
And if you ever want to come back or anything's going on, or maybe after the Worlds in December, or your super fight, come back and talk to us again, okay?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So thank you for doing this.
Thank you,
we love to say check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. For all the ways to watch, listen, and support. My personal Instagram is Uncle Milty BJJ. And that's about it. Bo, you want to give out your handy wisdom?
Yeah, handy_wisdom. You can say
handy_wisdom on IG. Check him out. He does these little these videos with his hand. It's kind of really funny. It's crazy. But thank you, Ben, for producing for us today.
Of course.
We'd love to have you back too, Ben.
All right, cool.
You come back whenever you like.
Thank you.
But thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Peace, love, jiu-jitsu.
Thank you.
All right.